What's up, everybody? I got something new that I want to do. I got this Hammond 1590G box, which I've done 2 of these before. It's a pretty comfortable box. It fits great in my hand. I'd like to try to build a box mod out of it with a voltmeter on the side here, a switch with an LED that lights up when I fire it, and some slide switches I want to be able to turn the voltmeter on without firing it and just keep it on if I want to monitor the actual battery level without load. And I want a switch that will turn everything off and lock the device so that it can't be fired by accident. The tricky part about this G box, because it's so small, is being able to fit a voltmeter anywhere other than on the side here. I made a thread in ecigaretteforum.com asking people if they had done anything like that, and I got no responses. So since nobody's replied to my thread, I haven't seen any pictures of it. I just have this idea that it should work. I'm going to try it. If it doesn't work, I'll finish it with a different box or change this box to something else. But I think that it should be able to work. The parts I got, I have this Hammond 1590G. I got the Fat Daddy low profile shorty. I have a MOSFET. This is the IRLB3034, which is the one that I've used so far in all of the mods that I made. I got some resistors, and where's the switch? Oh. I got this LED switch which lights up white if I have power going to it. I think I'm going to put, the website I got this from said it was tested with a 470 ohm resistor, but that sounds ridiculous to me, because mostly an LED like this is going to light up at 2 volt and have a forward current of somewhere around 20 milliamp. And based on the fact that my battery is at 4.2, and that's only with no load. Most of the time it's going to be, I'm going to have like sub-ohm atomizers on there that are going to bring it down to 3 point something volts. And so I think that I'm going to be okay with a 220 ohm resistor. It might not even light up very bright if I put that 470 ohm on there. Normally a switch like this would have 2 pins, and when I hit the switch it connects the circuit. This has 4 pins. The extra 2 are anode and cathode for the LED. I also have, I got the switch, Fat Daddy. I got this, it's a white voltmeter, which I'm going to try to fit flush on this face here. And a Keystone battery sled. These are the Keystone 1048 battery sled. I like them because they have these good gold-plated contacts on them. They actually come with the solder tabs coming out the back, which I cut off because if I have this sitting flat on my aluminum box, the solder tabs are going to short my connection to the metal in the box, and I can't have that. So I cut them off here, and the battery sits great in these. I think it's a better connection than a lot of other battery sleds. Plus, the way the contacts are, the sled is a little bit shorter than a lot of the 3D printed battery sleds. So I like this Keystone sled. I'm going to find a way to fit it in the box and wire it up with the other parts. So I'm going to start out by, I'm going to take these screws out of the Hammond box, and I'm going to drill out openings to put some magnets in there so I have a magnetic lid instead of a screw down lid. Okay, this is the lid to the Hammond box. The way it comes from the factory is it has these 4 screw holes here. The issue with the way that it comes is that if I have a magnet, when you try to put the magnet into the screw hole, it's not perfectly flush. It sticks out. There's kind of a gap there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my drill and widen out these 4 holes so that the magnet will sit down flush in there. Alright, and that's what it looks like with the holes drilled out. So what I pretty much just drilled it out with one of my step bits, and I used a magnet and made sure that it would sit in each of the openings that I created, and it will sit flush. So I'm going to just now stick the magnets into 4 holes, flip it over, and use some epoxy to seal the magnets down. Now while my lid is setting with the epoxy I put on there, I'm going to work on the rest of the box. What I'd like to do is fit this keystone battery sled down in the bottom here of the box. But as you can see, this screw hole here is blocking part of the sled. I'm going to have to use my Dremel to remove this part of the keystone sled. I might also try to shave off some area here just so I have a little bit more room for my slide switches and my fire switch that I'm going to try to tuck in up there. This might be as far as I need to go with the sled. I'm going to keep it the way it is for right now. But as I took out this corner of the plastic and I shaved down this side here, I used just a Dremel sanding wheel. But the ultimate goal is for the battery sled is going to fit in like that. I'm going to have a voltmeter, which I'd like to have as close as possible to the top of the battery sled. That's going to mount flush against the outside. I want the Fat Daddy to fit up at the top like this. There's just barely room. I think that with this mounted flush, there's going to be enough room for the Fat Daddy anyway. And the switch is going to mount just over here like this. I'm also going to try to put these slide switches along the side of the battery sled so that I can, from the outside, toggle my voltmeter and my master lock switch. I'm going to do some measurements and mark out the spots, and then I should be able to drill out the holes. I drilled out the switch and the 510. Although I think these places are good, putting the lid on is going to work well at that spot. One mistake that I made is I drilled this down a little bit too low, and so now I don't know how I'm going to fit the switch in with this here. So I'm going to try sanding down this corner of the battery sled and see if that leaves enough room for my switch. I am able to get it to fit, just barely. It works in this position. And this is my job with the drill and file. I've cut out, to the best of my ability, a square hole here, or a rectangular hole to fit my voltmeter. Now hopefully I'll put my test voltmeter, which can mount. I'd like it to sit flush. I'm going to have it flush with the back of the front of my box. And I'd like to still have room there for my switch to go in. I think it should fit. And it does fit. It clears. So the voltmeter is flush. The switch clears the voltmeter. And this is my Fat Daddy 510. That also clears. The plan is to place a MOSFET down here and have the slide switches up here. Alright, and that's me doing my best to file out some openings for my slide switches. So far, this is how the lid came out, by the way, just with the way that I glued the magnets in. It worked out very well. The magnets are flush. They look good. It's going to sit in the lid. But before I glue my other magnets, or epoxy my other magnets into the screw holes here, I'm going to finish my work on this mod. It's going to look sweet if I can get it right. Okay, so I'm going to try to wire this together. I'm going to try to run a wire from these two positive contacts in the battery sled to the 510 connection here. I'm also going to try to run a wire from one of these positive connectors to this slide switch here, which I'm going to use as a lock switch. I'm then going to come out from the lock switch and to one of the two contacts that are either open or closed for the fire switch. And then I'm going to run from the other contact on the fire switch down to the gate pin on a MOSFET, which I'm going to put down here. The negative contacts in the battery sled are going to wire to source on the MOSFET, and the drain pin on the MOSFET is going to wire up behind the lock switch to the negative point on the 510 connection. This is what the MOSFET looks like. The pins on it are from left to right, gate, drain, source. And so I'm going to try to wire this up right now. So this was a lot of work. That's what it looks like. I haven't glued in the slide switches. I might seal them with epoxy and the voltmeter. But for now, they're pretty good the way that they are, just to test it out. So I could stick a battery into the mod, and one of these switches is a lock switch and the other switch runs the voltmeter. Right, lock doesn't no LED, unlock, voltmeter comes on, and I have an LED switch here. That worked out nice. That 220 ohm resistor seems to work fine at the full voltage. It's not, the LED is not burning out. It's a nice bright white light. The switch here for the voltmeter, I hadn't intended it to turn the voltmeter on when I fired, but I believe that one of the wires that I tried to wire must have come loose when I was trying to get everything to fit into here. I will go through this and see if I can find the wire that prevents the voltmeter, that must have come loose and is stopping the voltmeter from coming on when I hit the fire switch. Okay, so I did some poking around with my multimeter, and I figured out that the reason that the voltmeter wasn't turning on when I fired it, when I had it in the position that was supposed to work that way, is because this slide switch was not working. And since I had a bunch of these, I got like a 10-pack for $1. They're cheap. But since I had a bunch of these, I just put a different one in, and it's working fine now. I glued in put epoxy in for these magnets, and I put some epoxy on these switches. Hopefully they will stay still. I need to modify this lid so that it only goes on in one direction. I need to modify the lid so that I can close the lid and not have gaps. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, any place where I have something that's coming close to the edge here, I'm going to make a indentation here on this lip on the lid. I need to do that. I had to have this stuff kind of further out than normally I would do because of the stuff that I'm fitting behind. So I did some sanding on this lid. I pretty much took out all the parts of the lip that come close to anything on the edge here. The lid is designed only to go on one way, which is great because I only have specifically sanded out the parts to face it one way. But the magnets repel in this direction. There's no way to push it on. It kind of pushes away. In the other direction, the lid sits on flush. That's it. That's the mod. I've got flush voltmeter, Fat Daddy low profile shorty 510, a magnetic lid that's easy to open and close. I got an on-off switch / a lock switch and a voltmeter toggle. And I wired an LED to my fire switch. So this is a pretty sweet mod. I'm going to go back up top, put some batteries in it, and vape. Alright, so this is the mod with some batteries in there. So that's what I'm using for today. The box came out great. I can hit the on-off switch on the mod and the mod will turn on. If I don't want to have the voltmeter on all the time, maybe I just want to see it when I'm hitting it, I can flip the voltmeter switch. It still fires when I hit the fire button. I have a white LED on the button. I can turn on my voltmeter if I want to and fire the mod like that. So I'll put an RDA on this mod. One thing that's nice about the Fat Daddy is that it's spring loaded, so I don't have to adjust anything. I can just pick any RDA and screw it on, and it automatically adjusts the 510 to my atomizer. And let's see, let's turn on the device. That's good. Awesome. Got this voltmeter switch. I can switch it to turn off the voltmeter. Still comes on though when I hit the mod. So I can see a voltage when I'm hitting it, and it's convenient that I can select to turn it on if I feel like it. The mod is working great. I made a nice mod. I haven't seen a G-box like this with this kind of design, with a voltmeter on the front and including some slide switches on the side. It's possible to do. 1590G I think is a perfect size for a mod like this. It's small, it feels great in my hand, it's comfortable, it has a good weight to it. It fits dual 18650 batteries. And it's possible to do something like this even with the small size if you take your time with it and measure out where you're going to put your components. So that's it. This thing is sweet. Thanks for watching.